Okay, we'll wait one more minute just in case anyone else logs on, and then we will get started. I forget that they can't talk back.
Welcome everyone.
Okay. So if anyone has some questions while we're going through the presentation today, please send them in the chat and we will get to all of them at the very end. But I will go ahead and kick us off and start this webinar with telling you that this is all about mastering HR tasks with ease, your guide to automation and efficiency. Oh, wait. Brian, your thing went away.
Oh, it's gone? Hold on. There we go. Are we good? Okay, yeah.
So this is your guide to automation and efficiency. Never worry about HR again. And we're going to tell you about some of the new updates and innovations that we have in regards to automation and what gets done without you even having to click a button. So your host for today will be Miss Ryan, and she is our product specialist. She's an HR software expert and a vital member of the HR health team. She's skilled at increasing efficiency and effectiveness for our healthcare customers. Her secret weapon is putting HR on autopilot with the HR for Health software. In today's agenda, just sit back, relax, listen. You don't have to do anything. You can play this like you're listening to a podcast, and you're going to learn how we have some new automated emails, some improvements to performance reviews, even though they're perfect already. We hear some of your feedback and we make those changes accordingly. There's some general improvements, so some things that don't fall into a specific category but are still really useful for you to know. And then a really helpful resource center, what comes with that resource center and what are some things you should look for, because myself, if I see a little notification, I honestly open it and then close it. So we're going to tell you why you should look at those notifications, what's in that resource center, and what to keep your eyes out on the look for. And then at the end, Brian is going to demonstrate these different features and show you how they work in the system, whether you are a client already and you have it, or if you're considering us, you'll see what it looks like on the back end and just how easy all of this is. And who we are. So our mission at HR for Health is to be your compliance partner and ensure a safe and positive workplace for your employees. As a result, save money, save time, improve your company culture, and avoid lawsuits, which are all things that are really bold claims, and it sounds like we couldn't actually hit any of those marks. And how do we do that with a software? Well, we make HR extremely easy. It's not scary, it's friendly, and it's able to keep up with you and your moving practice. And how we do this by saving you money is that you're in, hopefully, no lawsuits, and we can help you through our hotline, through email, or through calling anyone on our support team. And if you're a better boss, then your employees will thank you for it, and your morale will change, and you'll have a shift in energy in your practice. And we really hope that by keeping you compliant and educated, you'll find yourself inspired by HR and want to continue those practices so you can build company culture wherever you are. And we make it easy and not very scary at all. So with that, I will hand it over to Ryan.
Woo, thank you, Taylor. Apologies for the screen going away at that point. We are back though. So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining today. Like Taylor mentioned, today we will get you up to speed on what our product and engineering team has been working on over the last several months. We are constantly striving to ensure our software is not just meeting the needs of our clients, but exceeding those needs. Let's face it, HR is not the most exciting subject, but when you do have a software that was built to keep you compliant, provides tools that you need, and makes HR super easy, you can't help but get like a little excited. So how do we choose as a company what features to build or what features need to be improved? The answer is a little complex here, but in summary, we do take a look at product usage and data. We do research the market. And most importantly, we listen to you, our clients. So some companies may not be open to suggestions, but we are not that company. So today we are going to highlight some of the suggestions and feature requests from clients that we have implemented. And to start us off here, we have automated emails. So you probably are wondering why this. Haven't you always had automated emails sent to me? Well, yes, we do send emails regarding different events and actions within our software. These are not just any old system emails. These emails are a little bit more special and new and improved. So let's get into what they are. The first is a probationary period expiring email. So this email is sent when an employee's probation period is set to expire. It's sent out on Sundays, so you will see it first thing on Monday morning, and it will include any employees whose probation period will be expiring within the next 2 weeks. Why might this be important? This is a great reminder for you to assign a probationary performance review to track your employees' performance. As we mentioned in past webinars, tracking performance from the beginning of employment is highly recommended. You can also use this email as a reminder to assign employees to holidays that your practice observes, any time off banks like PTO, vacation, or sick leave, and of course, congratulate them on completing their probationary period. Exciting times. Next, we have a certification email, and these are sent out anytime certifications are getting set to expire. We send them out 90 days, 30 days, and the day of expiration. So this can be really helpful to keep track of certifications like CPR or sexual harassment training that have to be redone every 2 years or do expire. One thing to note, if you are a current client with HR for Health and you are using that feature, the expiration will only work if you add an expiration date. So there's no way for us to know off the top of our head what should expire and what shouldn't. So just make sure if you are using that feature and do want that reminder that you do add that expiration date in. Next, we have our paid holiday emails. So this will send regarding any upcoming paid holidays, and it's sent out a week prior to the holiday. These emails are beneficial because they will alert you if no one is assigned to ensure you have the time to assign them to the holiday prior, if applicable, and will let you know which employees are assigned in case you need to remove anybody from that holiday. So for example, maybe you had an employee who was assigned to the holiday, but now they're working that holiday. In this case, you may want to remove them so they don't get paid twice, or maybe you need to assign them to a holiday that is paid by the number of hours worked, in case that employee should be receiving time and a half or double time. And we're actually going to show a demonstration of this at the end, so hold tight. The last email we send out is our upcoming birthday and anniversary emails. This is one of my favorite engagement emails because it can be so easy to forget a birthday or an anniversary when there are so many other things to keep track of. But making sure you take time to acknowledge these events can really elevate your employees' experience. Speaking from experience with my own team. Also, a quick note on emails. If you ever are like, wow, there's way too many emails, you can always change your email preferences in HR for Health in case you do not want to receive any emails, or maybe you just want to receive emails about yourself or whoever you supervise directly. All right, next we're going to get into performance reviews. So we have launched the option for our clients to create their own customized performance review templates. This has provided the ability for our clients to fine-tune their reviews to a specific job role or to answer questions that they would like answered. This feature was highly requested by our clients, and we couldn't have agreed more that it was a huge need. So with performance review templates, you do have the ability to name a template, provide a description, which can be really helpful if you have multiple supervisors or managers that are assigning reviews. They will then know what review they should be using based on that description. You do have the option to create different categories, for example, maybe performance, attendance, goals. You can also create different questions within the categories. So for example, if you want it to be answered on a 1 to 4 scale with an NA option, 1 to 5 or a text box for comments instead, you can do so. The template can then be saved as a draft or saved in general, which means it's ready to be assigned. You can also preview it to ensure that the layout is what you like and it makes sense. Once the template is created, it can be assigned to any employee and can be assigned to multiple employees at once, which may be ideal if you're a practice that does reviews at the end of the year. And then you do have the option to print out the template if you need employees to complete it by hand. This was actually implemented based on a client feedback and the client wanting this option. And I actually have a quote for you, just so you know it was real. So the quote or the ask was, it would also be very helpful to be able to print the evals so we could review them. As a director, I would like to be able to review my manager's evaluations of their staff prior to them delivering. And save and close option on the reviewer page would be extremely helpful. So a quick note on the save and close, we actually do have this option already when evaluating a review. You do have the option to save and close a performance review instead of submitting it in case you do not want your employee to see your answers until after you have had that meeting with them. This can also be a great option if you do not want to follow the performance review flow that we currently have in the software. For example, if you want the supervisor to complete the review on the employee, but not the employee completing that same review on themselves, you have that option to print it. And then clients still have our templates to choose from. So these are our default templates in the system. So probationary, annual, or interim. And you do have the option to edit those templates if there's just minor changes that you want to make, or you can duplicate them as well. Lastly, we also got a suggestion to have a place to document good performance. So here's a quote: under performance, a section to document good behavior, skills, or just accomplishments would be helpful. Documenting good performance and recognizing the employee is just as important as documenting violations and poor performance. I think it could help with morale and with annual performance reviews. Thank you. We completely agree. And something to note is that performance reviews is actually a great place to document great performance. Performance reviews don't need to just be used to document negative or poor performance trends. You can always create custom reviews using the templates and then focus those reviews to be something positive. All right. Next, we have general improvements. So we love features, we love new features, but we also really love improvements to features. So these past couple of months, we have focused a lot on improving our handbook software experience and improving our time clock functionality. So let's get into the handbook improvements. We have implemented a recommended badge when completing the handbook questionnaire. We want to make sure our clients can answer the questions confidently, knowing what questions HR for Health recommends, answers that HR for Health recommends. And that just makes the process of completing the handbook that much more simple. We have also updated the functionality of our questionnaire to reduce the amount of clicks and help a client who has completed some of the questionnaire find any unanswered questions faster. Now, when you log back into a questionnaire, the first unanswered question will pop up, and we did this based on a client request. Just a few weeks ago, we have implemented a search functionality to the handbook in stage 2. So now when you're reviewing policies within the handbook, you can actually search for specific keywords like time off, PTO, sick leave, etc., and all policies with that word will appear. You may find this really helpful when we send out new law updates to the handbook. You can actually use that search feature to find certain information. And then with the handbook, you have the option to receive automatic law updates, which means that when a new law or policy needs to be added into your handbook, our software will automatically do this for you and sends out an updated handbook to your employees. Now, this is not new, this is just some information. The new part though is that we have added a toggle to the automatic law update so you understand when it's turned on or turned off. It does turn off if you make any custom changes to our policies. So you'll see that it will be switched off. And then you also have a tooltip kind of explaining what the situation is. Keep in mind that if you do have the automatic law updates turned off, we do still alert you when there's a new policy available to add to your handbook. The only difference is you'll be alerted on your dashboard. You can click that alert. It will take you to your handbook and you'll be able to accept those updates individually. All right, next we have some time clock improvements. So we know how important it is for employees to clock in and out accurately and without issue. We have made some improvements to the time clock functionality for our multi-location clients to ensure employees are clocking into the appropriate location or department. This improvement will require employees to choose their location and location category in order to clock in. One thing to note there is if the employee is at the location that is authorized, it will pre-populate, so they won't actually have to go select anything unless there's a department associated with it. This is super helpful for our employers and office managers, so they will not need to spend time fixing timesheets prior to processing payroll. With a lot of employees, nobody has time for that. And another improvement that we made to our time clock, which would be an improvement for all clients, not just our multi-location, is we have updated what the time clock button looks like in the top right corner when it needs to be authorized. Now, when a time clock disappears because you or your employee is at a new location, or maybe your IP address changed, employees will see a request time clock access button in red, and you will see a red add time clock access as an authorized user. You will also see a tooltip on what that means so you understand what's going on. And once clicked, that location will be approved and employees will be able to access the clock in button from that location. We did make this improvement because we did notice that there was a lot of outreach to our support team regarding not being able to clock in. And usually that's just because the location needs to be authorized or reauthorized. All right, next we have made some changes to our timesheet page. So managing timesheets obviously is super important as well, and we knew that there was room for improvement. And that was confirmed by the suggestions that we received by our clients and also feedback that we received from our internal teams. So two of the suggestions that we received from clients were, when you are editing someone's timesheet, the date range doesn't hold. When you submit a timesheet change, the whole page reloads and then you have to re-click into a previously selected date range. Obviously, that is not fun. And then when checking time cards before payroll, it would be very helpful to keep the date range fixed while switching between employees instead of resetting every time. The great news is we agreed and we listened. So now when you select a specific date range on a timesheet page, the date range will be preserved when switching between employees. Or if you're a multi-location or have multiple offices within HR for Health, those date ranges will also stay the same when switching between offices. When editing a timesheet, that specific date range for a specific date range, when the edit saves, you will be brought back to that specific date range. So no going, 2 months back, making an edit to a timesheet, and then being sent all the way back to today's date. You'll stay within that date range. We have also included other timesheet improvements. So the total hours function has been changed to show all hours within the specific date range that you have chosen and not just the hours shown on the page. We have received a lot of feedback from that. So it's all fixed. It's working how everybody wanted it to work, how it should have been working from the beginning. And then we have also darkened the color of the approved checkboxes on the timesheets page to make them more visible, as well as we have added a new default amount. So now when you go to the timesheet page, instead of it defaulting to only 10 timesheets per page, it will default to 50. So you should really be able to see all open timesheets. All right, next we have our Resource Center. We launched our Resource Center just recently, and this has been one of my favorite new features. It has so many cool aspects, and we're gonna get into what those are if you haven't seen them yet. So the first and arguably most important part of the Resource Center is our law updates, which will keep you up to date with all the HR and employment news relative to your state and of course any federal updates. Whether there is a new minimum wage or a new law regarding pregnant workers, we got you covered. This is extremely helpful because laws are being updated frequently, sometimes multiple times per year, and it can be very hard to keep track of every new law and policy when you have a million other tasks to finish, and of course, patience. Let us handle that for you. We have also included a section on feature releases to ensure you are up to date on what's new in the software. So just like this webinar, we go ahead and provide you a glimpse of some of that new information on our software. We want to make sure that you are able to use the software at its full potential, and part of that is knowing what's improved. Another super important part of the Resource Center is our support resource section. The support resources are for all of our authorized users to access important FAQs and training video tutorials. Another way for you to learn our software to its full potential. There's also a resource for getting answers. It's also a great resource for getting answers quickly. And I know for me personally, I love when I can find an answer on my own versus having to call a support line or create a ticket. I'm really not a patient person. I'm not a fan of waiting. So being able to get my hands on the answers that I need fast is really important and beneficial to me. The Resource Center also allows easy access to provide feedback and suggestions regarding our products. So like we mentioned before, we want our software to work for you. If there's anything that we can do in the software to make your day-to-day more streamlined and efficient, we strive to make it happen. If you are an existing client with HR for Health and have not provided feedback, I do encourage you to log in and submit your feedback or suggestions for improvement through the Resource Center. And lastly, we have included a webinar and event section to ensure you are able to continue learning about important HR topics and how our software can help solve your HR needs, and where you can learn more about events that we will be hosting. All right, those are the noteworthy updates that I have for you over the last several months. Of course, we are never done building and improving, so stay tuned for what we're working on next and currently. I can assure you it's going to be very exciting. So what we're going to do now is we are going to hop into a demonstration. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what our Resource Center looks like first. So we've talked about that a lot. In the bottom right-hand corner, all authorized users who have access, should be most people on the attendees list, you will see this Resource Center. Here you can see law updates, feature releases, you have support resources, software feedback. For any new clients, you will see an onboarding option if you're just a single location, and you have the option for webinars and events. So the law updates, this will show if there's any new ones. It looks like we have 13 here. You can click into the law updates and see them available. So minimum wage updates, the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, any helpful links will be included as well. Next, you have feature releases. So anytime we release a new feature or new improvements, we do like to update you. So here you can see what we've done. Next, we have our support resources. So let's just say you want to know how to add a manual timesheet, how to approve a timesheet, how to add a time off request, a holiday, whatever it might be, you can find those FAQs within our support resources. It's by subject, so you can see them here. You can also type in certain keywords and it will pop up. And then at the very bottom, we do have access to all of our video tutorials. And of course, within the support resources themselves, there are video tutorials. You have the option to share feedback. So this will be something that goes directly to me. Again, I love feedback. We love to know what's working for you, what's not working for you, and how we can fix it. And then our webinars and events are here. So if you ever want to join a webinar and not sure, if you received an email, you can always access that information here or register here. You can also watch any of our past ones as well. All right, next we're going to go over how to assign holidays. So to assign a holiday, you are going to go to wages an hour on the left of the navigation bar. You will select benefits, and then you will select holidays. So here we have in each office, you will notice that there are pre-populated holidays based on the common holidays observed in the United States. So in order to assign a holiday, you just find the one that you want, you click assign, and you can select whichever employees you want to assign it to and click save. Super simple. Let's just say that you have an employee who is working on a holiday. You can always create a specific holiday to pay by hours worked. This is super helpful if you have somebody working and you need to pay them time and a half. You can always change the pay rate to 1.5 and choose the pay by hours worked. And let's just say they're working an 8-hour day and you only want 4 of those hours to be paid at time and a half. You can always max out how many will be paid at that time and a half. You can name the holiday. So for example, Disney Day, that would be fun. And then of course you can select the date of the holiday and click save. Once it's created, you would be able to go ahead and assign that holiday to whoever's working. All right, and last but not least, we did go over our automated emails. So if, like I said, you are one of those people who are like, I do not need any more emails, I totally get that, you can always update your preferences. So in order to update your preferences, you would go to the name icon in the top right corner, you would go ahead and select My Profile, and then from here you can update your preference. So in case you only want to receive emails, regarding yourself or no emails at all, you can change it. You can also change your alert preferences. So if you're like, yeah, I don't want to receive any alerts except for myself, you can do that as well. All right, let's hop back in to wrap up the webinar. All right, so the last thing I like to do is go over a little bit of a Did You Know segment. So it's a quick segment that highlights something that you may have forgotten within the software. So the first thing, or the one thing that I want to go over is time off resolutions. So what is a time off resolution? At the end of an employee's time off cycle, whether the time off bank is based on an anniversary year or based on the calendar year, HR for Health software will alert you when it's time to resolve an employee's unused time off hours. The authorized user will receive an alert and an email letting them know that their employees have unused time off that needs a resolution. You will then have the option to roll it over, pay it out, or forfeit the remaining hours. Something really cool about our software too is if you do have a rollover policy, we actually have a box that can be checked off to have it just be done automatically. So you don't actually have to manually do that. But if you like to be hands-on and you like to have that process, see it through, you do have the option to roll it over on your own. You could base the actions on what's stated in your handbook, or you do base it on what's stated in your handbook policy. And we have your handbook policy linked on your time off resolution pages, so you know what to do when it's time to actually resolve the time off. If you want to know more about time off tracking and how it works, I do highly recommend watching one of our webinars. It's called Managing PTO Tracking. You can find it on our website or scheduling a demo with one of our sales representatives. All right, that is it for me. So thank you guys so much for joining and hearing what we have created over the last couple of months for you specifically. I am giving it back to Taylor to finish up here.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you everyone for sticking with us today. I have a QR code on this slide if you happen to be in front of a computer with your phone nearby, and you can scan this and it'll take you to our page where you can book a demo with one of our sales team members and learn more about what we offer. And it's not a super awkward conversation. You won't be stuck there for too long and you won't be asking to get out of it. It's just to see if this is going to work for you. So I will wait for a few seconds to see if anyone has questions. And I also want to remind you all that once we finish airing this webinar today, I will be uploading it and sending it out to all of you with the presentation slides as well. So there won't be a pop quiz at the end of this, and you don't have to memorize everything that Ryan said. You'll get a copy of it, and then you can reach out by replying to the email that I send you, or you can go to our website, call this number, and again, you can scan this QR code. But I will double check to see if there's anyone who's asked some questions. I don't think so. Let's see. Let me look through. Nothing. There's no such thing as a bad question. Does anyone have any questions? I don't think so. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Ryan, do you have any final thoughts?
No, just if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to answer anything. Reach out to our team, check out those webinars, all of the above.
All right. Thank you everyone for being here, and I hope to hear from each of you soon. Thank you, Ryan.